Hello and welcome to another edition of Broncos Talk Sports, totally soccer edition. Today, USA, terrible, but Argentina, magical. What is happening in World Cup, UEFA Champions League qualifiers, and a lot more. That is all today on the Totally Soccer edition. Today in the hot seat, we have our two men, Sergi Monso and Jason Trails. How's it going? ¿Cómo estás?
Good. We come back from 2 wins this weekend.
Yeah. Before we talk about anything else, let's talk about the Broncos. 3-2 victories, one double overtime victory, and one victory in regular time, but still two comeback wins.
Yep.
Great performances. But let's talk about world soccer. First off, the game I am extremely sad about, which doesn't impact you as much. The USA losing to Trinidad and Tobago 2-1. What in the world happened?
It's your country, Jason.
Jason, take it away.
I believe that. I mean, it was an easy game for USA. It should have been on paper. It's an easy game, Although they're playing away at Trinidad and like the weather, all this stuff. We can make excuses, but I mean, I think that they didn't perform at the best. Trinidad and Tobago scored a really wonderful goal, like 35 yards out. But even then, I feel like the USA is struggling a lot in their senior national team because they keep calling up the same people to their camps. They're not trying new players out. So other players they've been having, like Marcus Beasley, he's 34, 35 at this age. He shouldn't be like trying to play World Cup. Clint Dempsey, I mean, he's still in his prime, but I mean, even Pulisic didn't have a great game, and even then he was able to score one back, but I mean, it wasn't enough for the U.S. national team.
It wasn't enough, and then the question comes up, what's going to happen for 2022? Are we going to start relying on our youth prospects? Are we just going to call in these same veterans who clearly haven't done too much for us? We're out of the World Cup. It's a sad, sad day, probably one of the worst days in U.S. soccer history, at least recent U.S. soccer history. But one team that didn't have any woes, one team that is celebrating, probably got drunk, too many beers, is Argentina. These are the games. Yes, look at this guy. These are the games where people watch and they suddenly realize why Lionel Messi is considered one of, if not the world's best player ever. Ever.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened.
I like you saying ever.
I'm a fan.
He just took the ball and changed the game like he always does, and he always steps up in big games. Like we can remember, like Champions League finals. The World Cup final. He didn't have a good game, but he always tries. And sometimes as a soccer player, I can tell sometimes your touch is off, sometimes your touch is unbelievable, but the attitude has always to be there. And he always does that, and honestly, he stepped up and he scored a hat trick, and he made it look really easy.
He did make it look really easy against an Ecuador team that was out, but they were playing at home. They had a lot of pride at stake, and Messi just said, I'm the one. I'm the one, and this is my qualifying team. This is my team, and they're going to be in the World Cup next year. So fantastic result for Argentina. Now, Champions League. Messi's back in Barcelona with his team. All the players have returned to their club teams. Champions League this week, some big games. Man City, Napoli, Real Madrid, Tottenham. Barcelona also playing, but not as big of a game. What's the big matchup this week that we should all be watching for, and who are the players?
Honestly, we shouldn't even be here. We should be watching.
Because it's happening now.
The Man City Real Madrid game. But I think they were tying at halftime. I'm not sure what's the result right now. But I think Man City against Napoli is a really big game too. Napoli's unbeaten in the Serie A, 8 games, 8 wins. They're a really good team. Like, people don't give them a lot of credit, but they have Dries Mertens, they have Insigne, they have like Hamsik, they have a lot of good players. So I go for them against Man City. I think Man City hasn't seen a team like them in the Premier League.
Not yet, at least. Mm-hmm. And with Real Madrid and Tottenham, a team that they're doing pretty well in domestic competition in England, but just as you said with Man City, Tottenham have never come up against a team like Real Madrid, at least not this season. So what's going to happen today?
I mean, Tottenham's been having a good season. Harry Kane is unbelievable at the national team level and with Tottenham. Real Madrid's been struggling a little bit. They had a slow start, a couple injuries also, but it's going to be a good game. I think at the end, it might end up in a tie. But it would be definitely a hard game for Real Madrid and Tottenham to break the lines in defense and see who wins.
Who's going to be the breakout star of this week in the Champions League? Who's it going to be? Who's going to get the goals that matter? Who's going to make the saves that matter?
I mean, there's a lot of like games that don't really matter. Like I see Bayern Munich against Celtic. You know, that's an easy game for Bayern. And Barcelona, I think they're playing Apoel or something, like the worst team in the group. So honestly, like if I had to go with a game and a player, I'd go with Insigne for Napoli. You know, I just like Napoli. I don't know why. I just like this style of play. I just like it.
They're
I can't do anything about it.
playful attacking team.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. It's pleasing on the eye. What about you, Jason? Anybody?
I would go the game Real Madrid Tottenham. I'm a Madrid fan, so I would say that Ronaldo might step up. He's gonna step up and hopefully score.
That's a safe bet. Well, there's a lot to watch out for this week. Keep your eyes peeled. We'll be back next week with another edition of Broncos Talk Sports. That's all for now. See ya.